former Olympic swimmer and medalist Sharron Davies and a transgender tennis player Alicia Rowley has won a women's national championships in America. Under US tennis rules, trans athletes are allowed to compete alongside biological females, something that tennis superstar and women's rights campaigner Martina Navratilova has slammed as not fair on Twitter. Now, Sharron Davies, great to speak to you. Here in the UK, British rowing has now banned trans athletes from female events, but the fight to protect women's sport clearly far from over, Sharron, given this tennis case.
Yeah, good evening. Nice to speak to you again. Been a little while, Dan. I've just come back from Denver, actually, where we've had a big conference getting together women's groups from all over the world who are trying to fight for fair sport for females. And actually, the Brits are doing pretty well. So we're winning one sport at a time. As you mentioned, rowing. They've just announced their policy, which comes into to act on the 11th of September, where they will be protecting the female category. And because it's important that everyone can do sport, they're creating an open category where absolutely everybody is welcome, however they want to identify. But the female category will be for people that are biologically female that actually, need to have that protection so that they can have fair sport. So that's good. And hopefully world rowing will follow, just the same as world cycling has now followed as well.
But Sharron, tonight we can add rugby here in the UK to the long list of sports that seem to be succumbing to this extreme gender ideology. So this is the case of the Muslim woman Lucy Masood, who asked Try Tag Rugby, a company that organises tag rugby leagues, about female-only training sessions because her faith meant she wanted assurances that they would only include females. In a response posted to Twitter, Try Tag Rugby told her that sport is for everyone, and because trans women are women, they would be welcome at the female-only training sessions. What's your reaction, Sharron?
Yeah, this is a really difficult one, isn't it? Because what's happening now is by including transgender women, you are excluding Muslim women who have a very strong faith that says that they can't actually come into physical contact with people of the opposite sex. And we need to reiterate that a trans woman is a trans-identifying male. They are male. So therefore, we're self-excluding women from women's sport. And it's a really difficult one because actually I'm very split on this. I believe that sport should be for everybody. And, British Rugby has protected the female classification when it comes to contact rugby because it's dangerous and because they want to make the sport fair as well. But I think in tag, we're talking about something that's being created so that people can play maybe mixed sex rugby and it's safer. And I think the difficulty we've got is that we need them to have an announcement to say or that this is a mixed sex game and therefore then there should be a female only game if we don't want to exclude women from, religions in particular where they have very strong faith.
Indeed. And Sharron, this damning new survey over the weekend shocked me. I don't know about you. It found that a third of Brits don't know that transgender women are actually biological males, with the Beeb singled out for regularly using politically correct terms like trans women without actually explaining what that means. So, Sharron, what was your reaction to this survey result? And do you think broadcasters and politicians need to be more explicit when talking about these gender issues?
I think we need to use language properly. It's the trans activists have been very clever in confusing everybody. And there's so many different variations of how we talk about people that are trans. So I now often use the terminology trans identifying males, because then we know we're talking about a biological male. And you're right, 1/3, that's 1 in every 3 people does not realize that a trans woman is male. Now, humans cannot change their biological sex. So whatever your sex is the sex that you will remain for the rest of your life, regardless of surgery or hormones or how you wish to express yourself. And that's very important, certainly in sport, but it's also important in things like medicine. So we need to make sure that people understand biology. We can't be sending women for prostate checks. We can't be sending males for cervical smears. We need to make sure that we know the difference in biology. So I think, yes, there's a lot of deliberate confusion going on. And one of the things that I find very difficult to get my head around is when we say transgender woman accused of rape, and I just think that's when we need to be saying trans-identifying male categorically, because these are male crimes. They're not female crimes, and we need to understand that.
There's such an irony about the BBC pushing this message, though, Sharron, because look at the weekend that we've just had. Huge big ups to the England Roses netball team that made the World Cup final for the first time. They took silver. History making. Then, of course, you've got the BBC quite rightly talking about the Lionesses at every possible opportunity. You know, these are team sports, Sharron, that would be utterly destroyed if there was a biological male taking even one of the positions, either on the court or on the pitch. So the message is very mixed, isn't it? Because you've got the BBC pretending that they care about women's sport, but they're not standing up for women.
The next governing body in this country to protect the female classification. At the moment, we know of, so there will be more, but we know of 50 trans-identifying males that are playing in the female game. So that's 50 women that are losing their spot to people that are male. And a large proportion of them are goalies, because obviously being more explosive, being taller, having bigger hands, those are all big advantages to when you're being a goalie. So, you know, yes, it's fantastic to see those girls out there doing us proud, but we need to make sure there's a pathway. And if the pathway is full of people that are male in the female game, then that's going to make it very difficult for our girls to find their way through. So I'd like very much for you know, the FA to protect the women's game, and then of course we'd very much like FIFA to do the same thing.
What did you think of Megan Rapinoe?
And we are winning. It's just it shouldn't be this hard.
Well, you are winning in certain areas, but then you've got Megan Rapinoe, you know, the very woke American footballer who missed, by the way, the final penalty shot and the team crashed out. She says absolutely fine, has no issue with trans competitors in her team.
And she's just about to retire, isn't she? So I have to say I have nothing but disdain for female athletes that have had their pathway, that have had their opportunities, that have given themselves a wonderful platform to earn an absolute fortune, pulling up the drawbridge behind them. So some of the things I'd like to say about her, I'm not going to be able to stick on television.
Loud and clear, Sharron Davies, our Olympic medalist and women's rights campaigner. Thank you so much, Sharron. We'll speak soon.